You may notice there's lots of building work always going on in London, to the City of London. That's because property values are extremely high in London, one of the highest in the world. However, in the City of London, because it's so ancient, every building site has an archaeologist on hand. But they said that when they first closed down as a fish market, it took 3 weeks for sort of fish to leave the building. On our left here, this is the Church of St Magnus the Martyr. It's supposed to be the most haunted church in London. It is a Christopher Wren church, but unusually for a Christopher Wren church, it's a Catholic church. There was a particular favourite with the poet T.S. Eliot, who praised it for its sense of peace inside and its architectural majesty outside. Bless you, man. To our right we have the church where, just by this church here, the church where Dick Whittington is buried. Dick Whittington was famously 3 times Lord Mayor of London. He was a real person. He was the Bill Gates of his day. He was fabulously wealthy. So wealthy that even the king borrowed money off him. Now the story about him making his money by selling a cat is a slight corruption of the truth. It wasn't a 4-legged cat. He had a ship called the Cat, which he used to use to bring, well, to export goods from England to abroad, to bring in goods from abroad to England. That's how he made his fortune, not from a 4-legged cat. Let's go through a long underpass now, and we'll get the recording breeze. To our left, this is the River Thames. This is the very reason that London exists where it does. It's untrue, though, the River Thames may look a little bit dirty. That's actually unfair. It's actually one of the cleanest rivers through a capital city in Europe. The reason it's that kind of dark, green, browny colour, kind of khaki colour, is because actually it's a very fast-flowing river, around about 9 knots an hour. But it's also a tidal river, which means its level rises and falls by a large amount over the course of the day. And this churns up all the mud and silt from the bottom of the riverbank, giving it that dark brown, green colour. It's actually relatively clean. Now, you could go fishing in there. Personally, I would eat the fish, but you could go fishing in there. To our left, that building with the tall chimney there, that's the Tate One Gallery. That's the most visited art gallery in the world. Reclaimed land. And it was reclaimed by the great Victorian engineer Bazalgette. The same engineer who designed and built the London sewerage system, which still serves London so well to this day. Westminster. Now Westminster gets its name from the Abbey. Another name for an abbey is a minster, so to the people of London, over to our east, the abbey would have been the minster in the west, it would have been Westminster. That's where the area gets its name. Prior to the abbey being built, that area was known as Thorney Island. And And then Edward the Confessor, just under 1,000 years ago, built Westminster Abbey on that site. It looks like the lumber lines are moving, but like I say, it does actually do a full revolution every 30 minutes.
Is that it?
Now going back towards the House of Parliament, now these Houses of Parliament were actually largely rebuilt after a fire in 1834 destroyed most of the original Palace of Westminster. It was rebuilt by Sir Charles Barry in the Neo-Gothic style. Just around over now, this church is St Margaret's Church. It's a church where Sir Charles got married. And to our left we have these black gates down into with the British Prime Minister, 10 Downing Street down there. And to our right, there's one of the coloured building. It was outside this building that King Charles I was executed. King Charles I was the only British king to be executed. He was executed outside this building on the 30th of January 1649. Now January 30th, 1649 was a very cold day. So before he went out to be executed, he asked to wear 2 shirts because he didn't want. And so look, that's Paulscott's Parade. Paulscott's Parade is only formed by 2 regiments. It's either formed by the Blues and Royals or the Senior Regiment in the British Army, the Life Guards. Coming back up to Trafalgar Square now. And it's the site of the very first electronic advertising in the world. Over to our right we have the statue of Eros, but that's actually supposed to be the statue of the angel of Christian charity, but everyone calls it Eros. Now the story goes, if you stand on these steps of Eros at midnight with your true love, your love will last forever. It is also said that if you stand in Piccadilly for long enough, Piccadilly Circus for long enough, you'll meet everyone you ever knew. And possibly one or two you wish you didn't know. Coming right now to our final stop. Our final stop will be Coventry Street by Leicester Square. To our left we have Regent Street, one of the most elegant shopping streets in London. That was laid out by Nash, King George IV's favourite architect. It's also largely responsible for the Buckingham Palace we see today.
Dad.
And to our left we have Ripley's Believe It or Not, which has rapidly become one of London's most popular attractions. So remain on board if you want to see the beginning of the tour again. Buckingham Palace, Marble Arch, Hyde Park Corner and St James's Palace. Change here, get up here for the blue route and the red route.
Yoda.
Doesn't it look like the doesn't it look like that Yoda is
It's Yoda.
standing? Does it look like it's floating?
Yes, it is. I know how.
But doesn't it look like it?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I just took a picture of that. And
I want
another
to see how.
The bronze reliefs around the base of the column depict Nelson's four major victories, the battles of Milan, Copenhagen, St. Vincent and Trafalgar, and a cast from Cannes capturing Nelson's battle.
I know how
The
to
distance from Nelson's cap to the pavement at the top of the column is exactly the same as the top of the main masthead to the quarterdeck of HMS Victorian statue in the middle of the road is almost 400 years old and is of King Charles I, looking down Whitehall to the place of his execution in 1649. It is often forgotten that we in England executed a king 140 years before the French Revolution.
Oh, Dad.
Я бы наоборот на красном или на желтом отсюда поехала. Заодно на кораблик сесть.
As you know where that location is for that place you're not sure is it around
Ahead, this is Piccadilly. In 1612, at the eastern end, Robert Baker had built himself a fabulous home using the fortune of the earth from the sale of ruffs and piccadills that were worn around the necks and cuffs of fashionable gentlemen at the beginning of the 17th century. The house was derisively known as Piccadilly Hall, and little by little this street became known as Piccadilly.
В ту сторону продвигаться, потому что времени уже.
Now I just saw
2 часа.
him from the back. То есть я прекрасно видела Шарлотт. Видно, что онлайн встречается.
Tribute to British stars like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Pink Floyd, Elton John, Eric Clapton, and of course the Spice Girls, such are artists from all over the world. Some of whom, like Jimi Hendrix and Madonna, have found lasting inspiration here in London. Still has a London pied-à-terre here, but it is now the Wellington Museum, one of London's most exquisite small galleries, with superb paintings by Velasquez and Goya, as well as a massive and naked statue of Wellington's adversary, Napoleon. Hunting Park, where Henry VIII would hunt deer. It was eventually opened to the public when James I became king. Together with Kensington Gardens, it forms the largest of the royal parks in central London, covering an expanse in excess of 340 acres. It has its own artificial lake, the Serpentine, created in 1730.
But when we get there,
Kensington
we'll
Palace is
walk
situated on the
around.
far
in the oven area.
I have. I can pull us now then. Better don't put your hands in it. I'm sure that's filled in.
It's gonna break the picture of slide.
Ahead of us is the model. We didn't get on the doomed Titanic ship. Interestingly, the same architect who created the interior, the Waldorf, also created the interior for the Titanic ship. So many years later, they actually used the Waldorf as part of one of the Titanic films. They filmed it inside there because it was such a good aesthetic match. Coming up on your left, you're going to see the London School of Economics and Political Science. Very prestigious business school here in London. Would you believe that Mick Jagger is an ex-student? He did drop out, and I don't usually recommend dropping out of education, but I think he go on to become a Rolling Stone, and that's probably okay, if not encouraged. Some other famous ex-students include Hillary Clinton at one time, and at a completely another time, Monica Lewinsky. That's something else they have in common. After right there, we got Australia House, the Australian High Commission. On top of Australia House, we got the horses rising up on their hind legs, the rising of the dawn, the rising of the great nation. We're going to be heading up Fleet Street. Off to your right there, you can see St. Danes Church, with pockmarks from World War II visible on the side of it. Now, coming up on your left there, you're going to see the Royal Courts of Justice, the highest civil courts in the land. Look back to your right now, you're going to see a tiny little tea shop tucked in between two buildings. Twinings tea shops have been sat there for 300 years, same family money in the same spot in London. Same product that they're selling. Up ahead of us, the Monument to Temple Bar. Once we pass this, we'll be leaving the Square Mile. We will be leaving the City of Westminster and entering into the Square Mile City of London. Welcome to London, ladies and gents. Coming up on your right, the building that survived the Great Fire of London. Just past the scaffolding here, off to your right, black and white building with the wooden beams. Off to your right now, the Old Cock Tavern, the narrowest pub in the City of London. Coming up on your left, you're going to see a two-faced clock on the side of St. Dunstan in the West Church. It's actually the first two-faced clock in all of Britain. It was nicknamed Politician's Clock because it's so two-faced. That makes sense. It's also got two mythical characters up on top of it, Gog and Magog. Not going to see this quite yet, but as the lights change, you're going to go past here, you're going to see three things of interest. So Gog and Magog, the two-faced clock, and a very rare depiction of Queen Elizabeth. A very rare depiction that was actually done during her lifetime. So you can see that off to your left now. Look straight off to your left. There it is, the two-faced clock, Gog and Magog. Very rare depiction. Down to your left now, that's Better Lane, where the Great Fire of London was stopped by blowing up the buildings and using the fire break. Coming up on your right, you're going to see the Tipperary pub, the first Irish pub in the City of London. It was actually named for the song. I really don't want to sing this, but it's a long way to Tipperary. If you don't know it, then I apologise for that, but just reiterating, I'm not making it up, it is a real song. But it used to be called the Old Bog's Head before that. You can see it's the first Irish pub in the City of London. The red paint around the face of it and a logo of a man in a field. That's all how all of us Irish people spend our evenings. In fields and green clothes, just camouflaging in. It's also the first pub in the City of London to serve Guinness. So you'll see the Tipperary off to your right. Then you'll see a very lovely pub coming up on your left with a black lantern coming out from it, Ye Old Cheshire Cheese. Now that is where Dr. Samuel Johnson, the man who compiled the first ever English dictionary, and he did so just a few streets from this very street, used to drink. And it's also where Charles Dickens used to drink. And it was burnt down in the Great Fire of 1666, but they actually created a very authentic, rebuilt very authentic 17th century interior, and it's got a step that's actually the original step.
Sitting there, I'm just going to put it in behind you. No. So you sit here, you can sit there. Sorry, it's not to be a little much, I'm going to get ill. Yes. That sounds great.
Test one, two. Sorry, Irish people, we melt at about 25 degrees. Now, we're going to see the St. Bride's Church. Remember, it's straight off to right all the way up.
straight after I roll it up. The spire on St. Bride's, the spire that inspired the first electric wedding cake. After your right there, you can see the Old Bell Tavern. That's one of the pubs that Sir Christopher Wren built in the Square City of London. And up ahead of us there, the masterpiece of Sir Christopher Wren is St. Paul's Cathedral. Now built on the highest point in the City of London. This isn't intentional, it was always meant to be built at this point, but it's very important that it is built at the highest point, because it's actually the iconic dome of St. Paul's can never be obscured, it must always be visible on the London skyline. In fact, all buildings that are built around St. Paul's must never obscure the dome of St. Paul's. Now, St. Paul's is built on a point of worship for over 2,000 years, dating right back to the Roman settlement of Londinium. Straight ahead of us then, you can see it off to your left as we curve round here. You can see the reigning monarch at the time when St. Paul's was completed. It took 35 years to complete. In 1710 it was finally completed, and they erected a statue of the reigning monarch at the time it was completed, Queen Anne, or she's often mistaken as Queen Victoria. It's Queen Anne, she was known as Brandy Anne, but she was his father like Brandy. You can see her there with some pigeons at her feet. And of course, St. Paul's is where Lady Diana and Prince Charles were married. It's where Margaret Lady Thatcher had her funeral, and where Winston Churchill had his funeral as well. Kate Mills, who had the option of getting married here, they actually chose Westminster Abbey. The reason being the altar in St. Paul's, very large and very enclosed altar in Westminster Abbey. Make for, in their opinion, a slightly more intimate affair. And if you look up to your left now, you'll see a phoenix that goes into the side of St. Paul's. Right up to that fire. Sir Christopher Wren himself went to the point of the old St. Paul's and recovered a stone left over from the old St. Paul's, a large stone. This actually became his own memorial. There's quite a few famous figures buried in the crypt in St. Paul's. To name a few, so Admiral Lord Horatio Nelson, the greatest British naval commander of all time, and the Duke of Wellington, the famous victor of Napoleon, and Sir Christopher Wren himself. And if you look behind you now, off the back left side of the bus, you'll see quite a good view of the entirety of St. Paul's Cathedral. Once we pass it, you'll see even more. And London. Now, Sir Christopher Wren, like I said, he was 91 when St. Paul's was completed, so he felt too weary to walk up all those steps. So what they did, there's 500 steps up to the very tip top of St. Paul's, over 500 rather. So World War II to stop bombs. We'll see a building that took until 2012 that's been given a second purpose after World War II. It used to be a fire brigade station, now Brigade Guard Bistro. You can see that coming up on our left. Red brick building. You can see how in the back of it, it's completely destroyed, and we have to add on the entirely new back to it. You can see how the showroom buildings took here until 2012, only now has it been given its second purpose in the last few years. This shows how long it took certain areas of London to get back on their feet after World War II. Like I said, when London was a very, very busy docking area, the Bastilles would lift about 6,000 times a year. Now it's about 400 times a year. If you did want to see a scheduled lift, you could go online and see when that's about to happen. If you look up now, you'll see the new glass walkway between the two towers. Hopefully no ladies walking over them wearing a skirt. That tower bridge was painted blue, white and red for the Queen Jubilee. It used to be a very icky green colour before that, but now it's very patriotic looking. It looks very, very old, Tower Bridge. Now to your left there, if you want to see the oldest part of the Tower of London, look at the four centre turrets with the British flag flying in the middle. That is the White Tower, built by William the Conqueror, first ever King of England, just after he declared himself the first King of England. His first task he set himself in 1066 was to start building a fortress on the Thames. He knew if he controlled the Thames, he controlled London. Controlled London, he controlled the greatest empire in the world. And so he built the White Tower, and the rest of the Tower of London, the various towers surrounding it, were built afterwards, slowly built around it. The Tower of London has been many things. It's been a mint where made the first pound coin known as a sovereign in the days of King Henry VIII. It's been an observatory. It's been a royal palace, still is technically a royal palace. When Prince Charles becomes King Charles, he can choose to live here rather than Buckingham Palace. His roommate thinks Buckingham Palace is a tad too girly for him. It's been a royal armoury. You can go in there and see the armour of kings.